Mark Twain is celebrated as our national humorist. But in Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, Twain put his comic imagination to the work of confronting the nation's most serious and enduring of problems. Huckleberry Finn began his career as a supporting character in the Adventures of Tom Sawyer. When he became the protagonist of his own adventures, Twain had to reconsider the basis for the relationship between Tom and Huck. Tom Sawyer was born into the middle class, and he displayed all the privileges of his birth. Huckleberry Finn was poor white trash. Whereas Tom Sawyer imagined scenarios with fictional pirates, Arabs, and Injuns, Huck knew real danger. His father, Pap Finn, threatened to kill Huck. Huck's factual troubles endowed Tom's play acts with the feel of actuality. At a crucial turning point in the narrative, Pap Finn appears in Huck's bedroom and kidnaps him. Huckleberry Finn escapes by using Tom Sawyer props to stage his own death. When Huck encountered the fugitive slave Jim on Jackson Island, they were both dead to the social order. Huck and Jim restored each other to life through the relationships they created and the adventures, the Shepardson-Grangerford feud, the Duke and Dolphins confidence games, the townspeople's willingness to be duped and swindled, Colonel Sherburne's duel to the death that they shared on the raft. The relationship Twain imagined between Jim and Huck was seemingly impossible. How could Huckleberry Finn have agreed to share a raft on the Mississippi with Jim when the Southern class system and the feudal code demanded that he return this fugitive slave to his owner? Yet Huckleberry Finn's economic status rendered him closer to Jim than to Tom Sawyer. Moreover, Pap Finn's relationship to Huck was comparable to that of an overseer. Huck was Pap Finn's property. Jim was Miss Watson's property. The chief difference between Huck and Jim was that Huck believed he had the right to own himself. But Jim considered his fugitive slave body to be property he had stolen from Miss Watson. Jim had observed Huck and Tom together on the plantation, and he understood Huck's relationship with Pap Finn. Throughout their time together on the raft, Jim filled in for both of these missing figures. Jim would play along with Huck's need to stage Tom Sawyer games. Jim's relation to Huck's father was more complicated. Huck did not want a father. Jim, who could not be a father, empathized with Huck's anxiety about his pap's violence. In one of their initial adventures, Huck played a Tom Sawyer practical joke on Jim. After he bore the brunt of the joke, Jim told Huck that anyone who played that kind of game on his friend was trash. That truck does trash. And trash is what people is that puts dirt on the head of their friends and makes them ashamed. Huck confessed that it made me feel so mean I could have almost kissed his foot to take it back. I didn't do him no more mean tricks, and I wouldn't have done that one if I'd known how it would have made him feel. That response prepared Huck to arrive at a decision to refuse to return Jim to slavery that readers have taken to be the moral turning point of the novel. Yet, the reintroduction of Tom Sawyer at the novel's conclusion has haunted readers with intractable, seemingly unanswerable questions. When Tom returned, he staged a burlesque of Jim's emancipation from slavery on the Phelps plantation. Tom knew that Miss Watson had willed Jim free, but Tom needed to stage his version of a Walter Scott romance of escape from slavery before Jim's freedom could feel real to Tom. Miss Watson's act of willing Jim free posed a threat to Tom Sawyer's reality. Tom could only recover his belief in himself as the producer, the director, and chief protagonist of his reality by requiring Jim to acquire his freedom through a Tom Sawyer spectacle. Tom's previous adventures may have been play acts, but this real adventure resulted in Tom Sawyer's actually getting shot. The content of these concluding chapters made it impossible for the narrated action to end. It left readers with many unresolved questions. In devoting these chapters to its performance, had Twain distanced himself from Tom's humiliating minstrel burlesque? Or had he collaborated in its restaging? Was the novel a reflexive satire of the post-Reconstruction era South, in which blacks were formerly free and yet subjected to Jim Crow codes that continued the prejudicial logics of slavery? Or was Huckleberry Finn a tacit corroboration of structural racism? Did Twain's comic evasions turn the slavery question into the pretext for a series of racist jokes? Twain has not supplied us a moral compass we need to answer these perplexing questions. Can you construct such moral coordinates?